and just minimize it, yeah. Are you Miss Stover? Are you Miss Stover? Stewart? Stover? Yeah. She belongs to me. She belongs to you, never mind. Glad you can be here. Right. Okay, I remember now.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Our invocation tonight will be led by Dr. Sonny Hatcher, who's the chaplain for the city of Waynes Crossroads.
Let's bow heads. Lord God, we pause to say thank you as we enter into this new year and into tonight's meeting. Lord, the prayer tonight is really simple. We simply ask you for guidance and peace for the leaders of this council as they make decisions for the entire city. May the decisions being made tonight be decisions that will bring honor to you and to this community. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Terry, would you lead us in pledge of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Christie, can I get the bank balances, please?
Yes, sir. General, $465,696.73. Sewer operations, $387,837.79. Municipal court, $6,372.64. Corrections, $3,826.06. Cash bond, $903.63. Judicial Training Fund, $7,139. 4 and 5 cent gas tax, $29,147.52. 7 cent gas, $3,371.43. Rebuild Alabama, $42,767.61. Sewer security deposits, $108,596.05. Sewer tap, $43,702.90. Capital savings, $64,657.34, for a grand total of $1,164,018.70.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the bank balances and minutes as written?
Motion.
Got a motion from Terry, do I have a second? Second from Elizabeth, all in favor?
Did you vote, Jason?
I did not.
You did not vote. Are you abstaining or are you against? I'm sorry.
I'm against.
Okay.
We can talk about it later, but I think there are some significant errors in the minutes that should have been addressed. I know it's just a synopsis, but I think there's some things that just are grossly missing. So,
Okay. All right, so next on the agenda, we have a proclamation.
Mr. Mayor, people representing the Human Trafficking Awareness Month from the Department of Homeland Security is Crystal Gregory, Chris Lehman, and Landon Hoffman. And Melanie Stover is here, I believe. Maybe not. But these gentlemen, these individuals are here in support of this proclamation.
Okay.
Here's your proclamation. Do you want to read it from here and then invite them up? There you go.
All right, this is Proclamation of Human Trafficking Awareness, January 2025. Whereas Alabama's Human Trafficking Awareness Month was established in January 2011 in observance of National Human Trafficking Awareness Day to proclaim the equality and freedom of all people, to advocate for legislation, to educate leaders, and to encourage public awareness to the various forms of human trafficking. And whereas human trafficking occurs when an adult or child is recruited, harbored, obtained, or exported through force, fraud, or coercion for the purposes of sexual exploitation, forced labor, involuntary servitude, debt, bondage, and other methods of slavery. And whereas the United States government estimates that 600 to 800,000 individuals are trafficked across international borders each year and exploited through forced labor and forced sexual activity. And whereas the United States Institute Against Human Trafficking states that the United States is the number one consumer of commercial sex worldwide. And whereas the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children estimates that 100 to 300,000 children are at risk for being trafficked in the United States. And whereas in 2017, the University of Alabama identified 1,167 human trafficking victims within the state of Alabama, with 57% of those being minors. And whereas Polaris estimates that the national age of entry into the sex trade is 17 years old, and here in Alabama, Homeland Security has identified victims as young as 9 years old. And whereas the first step in eliminating human trafficking is to educate the community, we must work to ensure that all residents are aware of this problem and how to spot it and how to report it. We must work together as a community to bring victims to safety and to punish human traffickers. And whereas we ask all residents of this community to join us in raising the visibility of this crime, whose victims are all too often invisible, Together, we can become more informed and work to combat its injustices. Now therefore, I, Tony Craig, Mayor of the City of Owens Crossroads, do hereby proclaim January 2025 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month in Owens Crossroads, Alabama. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Y'all say anything?
I'll say a few words.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. I guess as a representative for the U.S. government and for Homeland Security, just wanted to say that it's very important for us to combat this because it looks a lot different than what it is here and what it is in Atlanta and what it is in Los Angeles, right? Human trafficking looks different, whether it's labor trafficking or sex trafficking. It is a problem that we face across the United States. Partnerships with state and local police is probably one of our most important things because they're the eyes and the ears. So the giving the knowledge and the outreach to everyone so we can identify it and address it accordingly is kind of why we're here today. I told my boss in Atlanta that boots and a flannel would be just fine, but he didn't believe me. But nonetheless, I was a state and local in Georgia police officer, so I saw human trafficking at the street level, and then I've seen it at the national level. So we try to combat it from all different angles, but it's all centered around recovery of a victim. We place the recovery of a victim before we look at prosecution of offenders. Obviously, we want to put offenders in jail, but most importantly, we want to put victims on a path to recovery. So sometimes it's difficult, but that's how we do that. I'm joined today by one of our forensic interviewers, Crystal. So what a forensic interviewer is she's the one that interviews victims, usually minors. So she's been through special training that allows her to connect and talk to children that have been victims of various crimes. So without someone with that type of training, it's very difficult for us to move cases forward. And I'm also joined by Chris, and he's a national program manager at our Cyber Crime Center, which does a lot of work in the background on exploiting phones and computers, because obviously there's a lot of evidence on phones and computers today. Actually, without phones, probably criminals would get away scot-free, but they aren't that smart. So his office really helps a lot with all that. So, and then I think we're joined by somebody else, but unfortunately I don't know you.
That's okay.
So if you want to introduce yourself, feel free.
Jones, advocate for anti-human trafficking, and I'm also been a volunteer under Child Trafficking Solution Project.
Okay. So yeah, we have a very it's a big collaboration with a fully integrated. We work very closely with the National Child Advocacy Center out of Huntsville, which is an amazing organization. If you ever have time to volunteer or need to volunteer somewhere, the NCAC is an absolutely amazing organization. They do so much to help, especially children and victims. It's crazy. But we have a very integrated approach with law enforcement, prosecuting attorneys, advocates, forensic interviewers, all that stuff. So anyway, this month, obviously, we bring awareness to it, and we thank you for your time. All that. And I guess if we could get a picture,
Yeah, that's what I was
we
gonna
would
say.
greatly
I
appreciate it.
promise.
Sure.
Our photos.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate everything.
You gonna show it, Mayor?
Oh, yeah.
Read it again.
Everybody, I read it once. All right.
Thank you.
Thank y'all
sir.
very much.
Thank you so
Appreciate it.
much.
Appreciate everything you do.
Thank you, God bless you. Yes,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Next on the agenda, we've got ordinance number 25-001. Jason?
We postponed this for next meeting. I've been in the dentist office for 2 days, and I haven't even had time to look at it. which would. I have no idea what's in it. And I've been under the weather. Left the doctor's office, just barely got here to see me and hardly talk, so.
Okay.
I would like to have at least read it. Y'all can go over it if you want to, but if we can vote on anything on to the next, would really help me. And I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
It's my understanding that it's just being presented.
It's just being presented, we're not going to
It's
vote
not
on it
being
tonight.
voted on
Yeah.
tonight.
Little I know.
So, the planning commission has gone over the zoning regulations that we had in place. Originally started actually by Mr. Wilson there. I took over, continued that, looking over it, trying to revamp it, turned it over to Jake, and then he helped to continue to revamp it so that the wording was a little bit simpler, so that Laura and Tim could make, sound decisions without having to come to the planning commission. And so that also, we didn't always have to go, okay, you know what, we do want to make a variance for you. We want to make an exception for you. This way, we have what we feel is a good product there for our city. And like I said, we also did turn it over to Jake for a lot of the other engineering factors, so.
A lot of what you'll see in there that's updated are just some things that we get feedback from developers that have come in. You've seen some new subdivisions going in around the city and different zoning districts. Usually it's RS1 or RS2. And so what we try to do is clarify what's in those zoning districts from an engineering standards perspective, right? So what are the side yards need to look like? What do the easements need to look like to make sure that the product that the developer is building is similar to what's being sold around the rest of the county to compete well in that market, but also is something that the city of Owens Crossroads is, at least the planning commission has looked at it in favor of moving that direction to try to, again, reduce variances, reduce conflicts and things that just were outdated from the previous standard. So there's not a ton of brand new things. A lot of it is just revamping some of the older language to kind of get in more compliance with what the rest of the county's doing from a subdivision development standpoint.
Is there I know we adopted international building code, but is there like an international code for zoning as well? Or was there a template to follow, or did we just clean up? I also kind of wonder where our other standard came from, because I don't know where it came from either. So these are just questions that I'm not questioning what you did. I'm just
Oh, no, great
thinking
question.
ahead.
So I'm not familiar with exactly the history of the current zoning standards. I know they came from TARCOG.
Yes,
maybe from
TARCOG.
Durant or something where we, and so generally their philosophy is to pull together, not examples, not cherry picking from other places, but they kind of look around the general area and try to find pieces and parts of a zoning book and then make it make sense for the smaller communities. So a lot of what we cleaned up had to do with just ambiguity, unclarities.
I get that.
As far as specific standards, like an IBC or an IRC or something, there really isn't for planning. There's some general planning guidelines.
It's just a question, I didn't know.
Yeah, everybody's a little different. The books are all written a little different. We're more closely aligned with the way the city of Huntsville has written their zoning book from a outline perspective. Madison is very unique in the way they have theirs, and Athens is another one we've looked at to try to just make sure we're kind of on par with it. It's written a little differently as well, but the same similar standards are there. A lot of what hasn't caused necessarily problems, but a lot of what we kind of took a look at was some of the landscaping regulations needed to be more clear. Some of the signage regulations we tried to clean up. We don't have a lot of those questions yet at the city, but when we read through the old ordinance, it was hard to understand exactly what's being said there. So.
Sounds like a good effort. Were there any significant changes, or, 'cause I read through it a little bit, but not having the old one to compare to, I didn't really know what was changed, but, so were there any, or did we add any additional zones per se, for lack of a better term, or anything like that?
No new districts came up.
Okay.
It was really just massaging the language within the existing districts.
Perfect. Thank you. So that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. So Christie, what's next on the agenda?
Next is Resolution 25-001. It's a resolution to dispose of a few items that have broken, that are unrepairable, just to dispose of those. It's a list there on the actual resolution.
That's it.
I have a quick question, not about disposing of this stuff, but about disposing of stuff in the future as well. Because Bruce and I were at the fire hall a few minutes ago going through some stuff, like we got some old fire hose and things that are probably not on property books, but should we go ahead and do a formal thing like this as we dispose of them? Because we're talking about between $8,000 and $10,000 worth of stuff, even though it's failed inspection, we can't use it, but it's so old, I doubt that it's on our property book anymore.
The state law says that even if it doesn't have a property sticker, if you're 99.9% sure that city money paid for it, or at that time town money paid for it, then it needs to be recorded in a resolution to dispose of it.
Perfect.
If it's over $25.
Over $25?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's
Obviously, if it's a clipboard and it's broken, throw it in the garbage. But if it's over $25 and you're pretty sure city money paid for it, then,
I've got a bunch of stuff that we were debating on what to do
and
with.
if you just give me a list, I'll be glad to create all this. Just give me a list. And I don't have to have serial number, model number, whatever. I did this because it is electronic equipment that we've purchased in the last 5 years.
And
that
this
is
is
being disposed
traditionally
of.
how we've done everything. We're just getting into some old stuff.
Yes, sir.
And I don't mind doing it. I just wanted to make sure we were doing the right thing.
It's also making sure that the public is aware, hey, we're not just throwing stuff away.
Yeah, when somebody pulls up and sees a whole bunch of
Yeah, because it's not our
fire
money,
hoses
it's
in the
the
dumpster.
city's money. It's the
Right, that
people's
was
money.
proclamation.
So,
Yeah. Good, that's all I had, sorry. Clarification.
No problem. Any other questions about resolution number 25-0?
no, it's your copy. Yes, thank you.
Sorry about that.
No, no problem. All right, do I have a motion to adopt resolution number 25-001? Got a motion from James, do I have a second? Second from Terry, all in favor? All right. Then we've got, go around, any comments from this side of the room?
Look,
Betsy, you got anything? Sonny? All right, Jason, you got anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. Anything from the lady back there? Okay. What about Ms. Busker? You got anything?
Yeah, I just had a question. I wanted to kind of get the status as to where the pull-off for Owens Road's going, and/or, I know it takes a while with everything that has to be done, but I wondered if there was a possibility of getting the city to get over there and maybe fill some of the potholes that are turned into ravines, to spare people having quite a bit of damage to their cars.
Jake, you're here, you want to speak on that?
I can do that now, or I can give a general update in a little bit. I didn't know what you prefer.
Can you just give us just a few minutes and he'll give an update on all of it?
Absolutely.
Great, thank you.
All right, Bruce, you got anything? Well, we'll hit you later, since you're already first. All right. Michael, you got anything? All right, let's see here. I guess we're down to,
Departments?
Bruce, it's your time. You got anything?
Yes, sir. Just to make you aware is that we're in the preparatory phase for the possibility of winter weather. This Friday, we began the preparatory phase and are standing up extra crews in the event that we have the unlikely good old winter weather. Interesting update from the National Weather Service is that we stand a 10 to 20% chance of 6+ accumulation of snow, so we're in the low range of that. Hopefully we won't get that. We're still monitoring it. We'll continue to work on it as the event approaches on Friday. We had asked that everybody stay vigilant, watch the weather, and take those safety precautions.
Well, thank you. Christine, local government, you got anything?
I do, actually. I have a purchase request. We have, here you go. This came in very late, so it didn't get added to the actual agenda. I'm requesting to purchase a storage building for out here at City Hall for, Well, this has got the information about the building we discussed. It's purchasing a building from New Hope Buildings to use for storage here. We've taken over storage over at the fire hall. The mosquito truck doesn't even fit in the building right now, and it's being parked at Mr. Locke's house, so that's not a good thing. We've shopped around quite a bit, and this one with New Hope Buildings seems to be the best choice, so it's $8,830.25. You'll see on the second page. It would be 12 by 32.
32.
Yeah, 12 by 32, has a roll-up door. They deliver and set it. What else, Jason, am I missing on that?
I believe it's got a side door. It's actually a repo, and it's already got some electrical wires running and outlets and things like that.
Okay. We would move all of the holiday decor in there, but we would also move any of the excess furniture such as filing cabinets or desks or chairs or whatever that we have. Because we're busting at the seams here and y'all are busting at the seams at the fire hall as far as storage goes. So this is just a request that I'm making.
And we took their closet when we made the police equipment and locker room. So they lost 2/3 of their storage when we created that.
Yeah.
So their storage that was here in City Hall is now
Right.
the size of a
Yeah, it's
small
no longer
linen
able to do
closet.
that.
And
We've got all kinds of stuff stored in this room right here and they just fall all over you if you move one thing 1 inch, so.
And I mean, even their locker room. we got
It's
it
like that as
packed full
well.
of stuff,
Mhm.
too. If you go over to the mosquito shed, what used to be a mosquito shed, it's just packed full of holiday decor and stuff like that as well.
Road stuff and everything, so it's gotta be, yeah.
Bruce and I have plans to evict y'all from the fire department side because we need to start using that for
Yes.
storage.
Right,
So y'all are about to get evicted on that side too, so.
right, so,
Yes, and this would take care of all of it.
right.
So,
If you decide that y'all would like to vote for this, I know I don't have a resolution typed up right now, but we can call it Resolution 25-002, and I can send a copy of said resolution to you all if you decide you want to vote. We
What's your
usually do
opinion?
resolutions for purchases, is why I
My
brought that up.
opinion is that we should go forward with this and we should set a do not spend level of $10,000 on it just in case there's any moving or any unforeseen things. It looks pretty complete, but just in case it shouldn't have to come back.
okay, will that take care of any blocks or?
The 883025 should or will include delivery and setup.
It looks pretty complete. I don't think there's gonna be anything, but I always like to give some headroom just in case there's an unforeseen charge.
Absolutely.
That's-
Where you gonna put it?
We're gonna put it out here next to the storm shelters, right there.
I just wanted to make note of that
Out in view
too.
of the public.
This will, doing it and having it here at this building, I'm sorry, would take off a burden on CT or whoever is doing that job, because right now, he is picking it up and bringing it over here for us to do, because we don't have the vehicles to do that. But if it's here, we can just go out there and do it ourselves, and we're not using him for that. So I just
And
want to mention that
also-
too.
And also like how it, the bottom of them usually stick up and you can see it through it. We're planning on just going into Lowe's, getting some lattice, cutting lattice down, putting lattice down at the bottom of it. That way, pretties it up and maybe.
Makes it look a little nicer,
yeah.
yeah.
When it gets into your little bit extra, you might need to spend.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Are we planning on pulling, if you're gonna put it up by the storm shelter, you can pull power out. Are we planning on pulling power out to it?
We haven't got that far with
I
the
don't
discussion.
think, I don't think so right now, just to be honest with you. I do know that it's got, and I didn't really pay that much attention to how the power is run into it. And of course, we'd have to get Tim and them to look at that.
Right.
But there is some outlets and there is wiring running to it. So I don't know, I didn't pay attention to see if there was a breaker box in there or anything like that. But right now specifically, there's no need to do it. And if there is, we can run an extension cord out there and throw a heater in it, but I don't even see a need to run a heat or anything.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. As far as
Where
right
you're
now.
putting it, it's close enough that it's possible, and that's
Yeah.
why I asked. That's why I told you
Right.
that. That's fine.
All right, so why don't we make the not to exceed like 10.5, give them 1,000?
I don't have any heartburn with that at all.
And
I don't have any heartburn.
All right, so do I have a motion to purchase said building from New Hill Buildings with a not to exceed of 10.5?
I make a motion to purchase a storage building not to exceed 10.5.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Motion by Elizabeth, second by Scott. All in favor?
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. Brandy, you got anything?
I've attached the yearly report. I'm scanning. I've been sending out letters to defendants that still have old, open, adjudicated cases. I'm getting really pretty good at response back from that. So I do have several that will be attending this court coming up Thursday.
Great.
So yeah, just chasing people down.
Chief, you got anything?
Yeah, I'd just like to mention Alex Monson, one of our reserves. After about 16 months of training, he will finally complete his APO certification on the 25th of this month. So he will be a certified law enforcement officer.
Is that in Jacksonville State or?
No, it's actually at Jefferson County Training Facility down in Fultondale.
That's great. That's great. Jake, you got anything?
Just an update on a couple projects we've been working for the city. So first off, we'll start with the sewer plant. We're out of the ground on the chlorination basin, which is the smaller of the basins that are involved in that plant, and they're doing rebar for the main pad. We do expect probably next week or the week after to pour the concrete for that larger pad basin. The goal there would be to try to not disturb school traffic as much as we possibly can. But that's likely going to mean starting some cement trucks around midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. To make that pour is about 100 trucks. So there's going to be constant traffic down Old Highway. We're going to try not to get on Wilson Man at all is the current plan. But I know Forrest, work with Jason as we get a date and a time scheduled for that. So we can get through this winter weather this week, take a look at where they're at. But most of that rebar is installed. They got the dowel bars in, and that's what they're kind of working to complete the rest of this week. But we will be looking at some heavy construction traffic for cement trucks in the coming week or two. It's probably going to be about a 2-day stretch of just constant trucks in and out, pouring and leaving. They'll have a pumper out there just like they did for the first pour. So just be a little bit different, something we haven't seen in a while for the city, but that's what we need to do to keep this one moving. Just for financials, we're about $1 million in to the current $7 million grant. Still working with ADEM to finalize the rest of that with a loan. Corey is our project manager. She's managing multiple projects, but it's on her list to get with us on what is required to get that loan secured, although they continue to promise that it's there. It's just a matter of paperwork and formalities, but that can take some time, and I don't want to have to hold the job or linger on that, so I'm trying to push them to make sure they're coming through on whatever they need paperwork-wise. So, any questions on the treatment plant for right now?
Not me.
Okay. We'll move on. I'll start with Wilson Man's sidewalk project, right? So the city has received a grant through the TAP sidewalk program through ALDOT to design and construct the sidewalk improvements. But with that grant, there was a caveat. They wanted us to change our scope of work a little bit and do a wider sidewalk, which provides some additional costs and challenges there from a construction standpoint. It also is unlike the Rebuild Alabama grants, where this one is looked at a little bit differently through ALDOT, in that they want to use their certified list of engineering firms to design if you're using their money for design. So we went out and looked at some pricing from some local firms, and they were on the order of $35,000, $36,000 for survey and design of that sidewalk, which blows the entire project budget. So talking back with ALDOT, we went down to Montgomery. They did not have any extra money that could add to that grant. So the recommendation was to not use the grant to pay for engineering, design, and survey. And then you guys would be able to utilize any engineering firm you wanted. So my fees were listed in the application that we submitted, and that was $18,000, which would cover survey, design, and construction inspection, contract bidding. So the full package there. So that is an option. Obviously, we're also welcome to go out to other engineering firms in town if you'd like to look at their costs. But that's where we are on that, is the money's still there. The money's available for the city to utilize on the sidewalk project. However, it does not appear we can get an engineering firm paid through the grant for this particular project this time. So that's probably a lot of information there. Maybe didn't explain it really well. So any questions on where we're at with that? We have not started any work at all. We did sign the agreement with AlDOT to accept the grant funds. We just haven't proceeded because we've been working on this design budget issue.
Jake, how long do we have to use the grant funds?
I think we have a year to get under contract. I have to go back and look at the signed contract with the city and AlDOT on that. But there's some significant time. These things always, when AlDOT's involved, take a lot of time for design, back and forth and survey. So
So this is something, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. This is something that the council needs to vote on if they want to accept your,
yeah, at some point, not tonight, I
Right.
wouldn't imagine, but at some point, yes, the council should vote and hire an engineering firm. And
whether it's
AlDOT
you or whoever else.
Whoever, right.
Vote to hire an engineering firm and then do not to exceed, and then we take place bids or however we want to do it.
Right,
Right.
right, yeah.
And
So-
we do have one, well, two now, his, what you would cost,
Right.
what your fee is, and then the other company.
Yeah, Croy Engineering was the one that was on the on-call list and is familiar with Owens Crossroads the most, and is doing similar projects in other areas as well to that same sidewalk. And so that's what we reached out to initially.
So they want the sidewalk slightly wider or a lot wider?
Slightly, it's 5 foot instead of 4, but when you get into that, we were looking at kind of reusing the same path and everything, and you got that 4 foot width. When you start making it 5 foot, you start getting further into people's yards. There's some culverts and some drop-offs there that are going to have to be adjusted. And so we're likely looking at even some handrails having to be added to the back side of that sidewalk now, because you're going to slope off into people's yards, and if there's a...
So what's the chances of us having enough money, even pulling the engineering part out of it? With the grant, we're still gonna have to either supplement this or ask for more money in the end, aren't we?
It's hard to say. First off, I'm a terrible estimator.
Well, and this is an on-the-spot thing, so I don't expect an exact answer, but you know where I'm going with that.
Oh,
You've added a foot of concrete all the way down, plus the extra stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, is this and of course you can't give us this, but I would love a best guess, I guess is the right word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
At some point in time, are we adding 20 grand or 100 grand?
Yeah.
And I just, if the swing could be that wide, I don't know.
And I think we're closer to the 20 grand. So when AlDOT requested that, we did get a chance to bump our number up a little bit, to kind of add some different line items that would make up that difference. And so we bumped up probably 30 grand.
So we may have
On the
enough built in
application,
to
and then-
cover it then.
And the application for the grant actually included $18,000 worth of engineering fees that now won't come out of the grant. So you're going to add another 20. I would hope, I'll be honest with you, the quotes we got to do this from Rogers Group a year and a half ago were a third of the grant budget. But when you get AlDOT involved and you add all these things.
No, my fear is we pay an engineering fee and then we still have to come up with another 50 grand, right? Well, I picked that because you just found about 50 grand with the extra money, right?
Right.
But if all we have to do is come up with the engineering fee, then that's probably a lot more palatable with everything else we have going on. So just trying to figure that out.
I mean, I'm sure it'll come back about me. Right now, I feel pretty comfortable with what you got grant-wise for construction. I really do, and AlDOT does
I'm
too.
expecting an exact answer, and I know that. It's just you probably have the exact same concern at some point in time. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's definitely a fair question. So that's where we're at Wilson Man. We can obviously get your Croy's proposal, get you my proposal, and if you want me to go out and talk to other engineers, happy to do that as well, whatever the council needs to get that project going. And then Owens Road was the other, that's a Rebuild Alabama grant application. The grant funds were at $188,000. The bids are significantly higher than that. So the design we did, or I did, widened Owens Road to a 24-foot roadway from Brockway all the way to the highway. In that, Outlet got involved in the highway, and they are requiring us to change the median access there. So we're gonna have to, right now it's just a grass ditch on each side. We're gonna have to actually reduce that width and then pour little concrete aprons to kind of meet the new standard. If you've gone up Governor's a little further, you've seen the new concrete one. So we gotta do that, which was not factored into the original budget estimate. And then on Hidden Branch Road, where it comes into Owens there at that subdivision, I was hoping we could widen on the north side of that road and not actually deal with that intersection, but I'll leave it the way it was. But there's sewer lines, there's some fiber lines, AT&T, and some power lines there that actually make that problematic. So we have to widen on the south side, which means basically we got to redo that intersection a little further south on Owens and redo all the radiuses, redo the curb and gutter, redo the storm boxes. So that was another $25,000-26,000 that wasn't in the original estimate because I really thought we could widen to the north. So where we're at today, we received 3 bids. So we had 3 contractors that were interested. All the bids were within about 10% of each other, so everybody understood what the scope was. There's not a whole lot to argue about as far as was it clear. We're just over budget. So we're going back now, and I've talked to Aldott about it. What we'd like to do, again, to your original concern, we don't want to come out of pocket a whole bunch of money right away on this particular project. We want to use the grant funds to the maximum extent possible. So it looks like our new plan that I'm talking with the low bid contractor would be to go from about Hidden Branch Road and go east to the highway and just widen that section and improve the median and improve the turnout to get to Owens Road. So that was a lot of there's I think about $70,000 tied up just in changing the way Owens Road ties into the highway. Right now it's a pretty steep drop off and it's a weird angle. So we're going to actually make it a parallel 90-degree angle, and we're going to increase the slope as you come off, or decrease the slope as you come off the highway and extend it out. So it's not such a quick ramp down, it's a more gradual. So it should improve access coming on and off, and that seems to be the highest traffic vehicular movement there is coming off the highway, coming down Owens. So we wanted to focus on that to Hidden Branch with the money we have available and see how far that can get us, and whatever's left over, if there's anything left over, we'll try to use along Owens Road to fill potholes, to do base repairs, to do other things. So that's the section we're going to focus on with the grant funds. Any questions on that?
Christy, I have a question for you. The Rebuild Alabama, that's for roads. So are we going to be able to use any of that towards this?
Well, first we use our grant money for that, and we also, in our Rebuild Alabama, we had committed in our ordinance to use that, or resolution, excuse me, to the resurfacing of the roads that needed it,
Okay.
that Mr. Terry and Mr. Roth and
Okay.
myself had laid out.
Okay.
That,
Yeah,
do you have an
that's
update on that one as well?
So,
Mhm.
Last year was the first year we did an annual maintenance paving contract. Rogers Group was the one that won that contract. I have had no luck getting them scheduled to actually perform the work. I've looked at it with 3 different project managers multiple times. So our strategy at this point, at least my suggested strategy, is that contract expiration date has come and gone.
And we get another.
So we're going to try to go out and get another contract. I think we'll have at least 3 bids again, and hopefully it will not be Rogers Group that wins that contract. Or at least if they do, they prioritize Owens Crossroads, because that's just not what happened. There's a lot of turnover right now for them. Some things are changing, so it's been hard to get them out to do the work, but it's still in the books. So the strategy this time is to go out again and actually put together some drawings instead of just the scope of work and talking about the streets. And we've been out there and painted it 5 times. And the time it takes to do that over and over again, I'm just going to draw it up so that it goes out with a bid package and we can get some fair numbers from everybody.
Anything else?
Not for me, sir.
Thank you, Jay. All right, we'll go around the table. Terry, you got anything?
No, sir.
Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Scott?
No, sir.
Jamie?
Just one thing, Christie, would you help me remember, we need to get a town email address for Eddie Phillips. He's been taking on admin roles as a volunteer for the fire department, and we need him to have an official email address for the bids that he's taking in.
Okay. Bruce, can you get me his exact spelling, please, for Mr. Phillips?
It's EDDIE and then Phillips, Philps.
Is it one L or two?
I believe he said one, but we'll verify.
Yeah,
I asked him when we were standing there tonight.
okay.
But he's also, just for reference, he's going to be doing a lot of bidding, taking bids and working research projects for Bruce for all the equipment we've got to order. So,
Okay,
that's all I got.
thank you.
All right, before we adjourn, I've received a memo from our city clerk, Chrissy Eason, as provided by ordinance number 6-3 regarding the renewal of the 2025 business license for Pathway of Madison County LLC. And based on due process, compliance, incidents, and correspondence, she has recommended that the business license for Pathway of Madison County LLC not be renewed. And I would like, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mayor. I don't mean to interrupt you, but since I wrote that memo to you, I received from a local citizen a petition that lists almost 35 names of people who are against renewing the business license for Pathway. I have it here with all their names.
And those are mainly concentrated on Dudley Lane. right?
Dudley Lane, Hamer, Piney Woods, Hamer, Lyons, Ed Spears, Dudley.
Our attorneys are not here tonight, but
They are aware of my memo and my letter, and the League of Municipalities, Caleb Beck, the attorney there, has reviewed my letter as well. And 100% support. And said it's the appropriate way to go. I mean, if that's the way we want to go, that's the appropriate
Right.
process.
Not renew their license.
Do not renew. If that's the way that y'all choose to go.
Well, so let's discuss this. Any questions? James?
my only concern is I would love to have the attorneys here to hear any caveats to it,
There's,
one way or
you
the
know, we
other.
talked with the attorneys today, and he said this letter is good the way it goes. We just have to offer them due process where they can come in for a hearing, and that's mentioned on the,
Yeah, I think there's actually quite a bit more to the process. And the last time we talked, they mentioned several other things. I just think it would be good for them to be here to make sure we know what we're getting ourselves into. Not that I disagree with this, or I think this is a bad thing. I just think there are some implications to the city we need to make sure that we understand before we dive off into it, without them being here to fully explain it. That's my only concern.
in talking with him, they said this was good to go as is.
It was
And
never that
the
simple.
league agreed this was 100% correct the way it was written. And so I'm going to poll the council to see their opinion, if they agree to renew the business license for Pathway,
To not renew.
to not renew the business license for Pathway. Terry? Not renewing it.
You
Okay.
hear me? I can hardly talk.
Yeah, you said you were good with it, but.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure. Yeah.
Not
Doing the
renew.
best I can down
Right,
here.
right. I'm good, I'm good. Elizabeth?
No, I'm good with it too, not to renew their license. I mean, we just had some that escaped last week, this past weekend. So I'm good with, yeah, not renewing their license.
All right, Scott?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. James?
I fully support not renewing it, but I do have concerns from the legal perspective, because I know some things were explained that I think are being overgeneralized right now. And I'm not opposed to not doing it. I remember there were some other pieces to what they said, and that's what concerns me. We'll get the city liable for something. But I am not opposed to not renewing it.
Okay. And I'm not opposed to not renewing it, so. Okay. All right. I don't have anything else. Any go-backs from anybody? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn from James, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
You second it. Motion to adjourn by James, seconded by Elizabeth. All in favor? Aye. Thank you all for coming.
You guys look nice. That was a good job setting them up.
Oh, thank you.
He does.
I'm looking at the lot check.
Pretty mother-in-law. No, it's
Getting a laser printer.
He's gonna come up here and say, oh, mate.
Actual printed page. One of the things I'm looking at is, self-laminating.
They might be in the